progress to the next.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Brianna Fiola and Jason Snyder. From
Thank you,
Brainstorm.
guys.
Whew.
Do I stand next to you? Maybe I stand right
Yeah.
here?
Sure. I'll tuck in over here.
We'll try
Hello,
this. Maybe I'll
everybody.
wander around.
Thank you guys so much for coming today. We are really excited to be here. This is actually Jason and I in the studio last week working on a project.
We debated making this the whole presentation. We could just chill for 20 minutes and get comfortable.
Yeah, this is...
There's no better way to describe symmetry than this.
But hello. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're so honored to be here and a little bit nervous. I might be a little shaky, but
Voice a little fluttery.
talk a lot with my hands. But we're really excited to be here, and thank you guys so much for spending your morning with us. So who the heck are we?
Yeah.
Who are we? Why are we here? Who are we? We're Brianna and Jason, and we call ourselves Brainstorm. Don't judge. We came up with the name when we were in college, and we kept it.
Yes, we want to change it.
But it's just been so long that we can't change it.
We're committed.
We're committed. So we're illustrators, printmakers, and designers. We're also muralists and marketers and Instagrammers and janitors, all of the things that
all the things that a company of two has to do to try to make this thing work.
To try to
We're
make
doing
this
all of
thing
them.
work. We've been collaborating since 2007, since we've been together. We are business partners and we're married, which is a little crazy.
We have some in the audience.
Some of you out there might be doing the same thing, and you
Which is
probably
great.
understand that most people will say, I could never work with my spouse. This is the most common reaction we get from people when we tell them that we work together and we're married. But it's been supernatural for us. We've been working together since we got together.
It's one of those jokes where when somebody gives you that reaction, I kind of have to laugh and play along like I know what you're talking about, but I don't because we've been together and working together the whole time. We're like, yeah, that must be terrible, but
Yeah.
I don't share that same situation.
Yeah. So after we left college, we realized that we wanted to keep making work together. That's how we started, so we wanted to keep going. So we kept looking for new places to work, and printmaking is a medium of materials.
as
and
anybody may know.
Tons of space. You can do it in a small space, but you really should have some space to move around and do stuff. So we moved a lot. We have been together for 11 years, and we've moved a whole bunch of times, and each studio space that we've had has gotten a little bit better every time.
Progressively from one dingy basement to a better dingy basement. Maybe we added a window in like 2009. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
But you're always slowly trying to acquire just a little bit more, totally bootstrapped, as we can grow this business selling prints.
Selling prints. So every time we were moving somewhere, most people generally when they move, they're looking for a new apartment. They're like, oh, is there a washer dryer in the unit? Are there...
We're looking for a nice neighborhood. Off-street parking.
No, but we are asking the real questions like, what are you doing with that basement? Can we power wash in it? Is that garage like okay for screen printing? So we had a very different set of rules every time we moved. But ultimately, we finally found a really great place, and we work in Dover now, and this is our studio down in the Washington Street Mills. And you're welcome to come and visit anytime.
We're on
Let
the
us
fifth
know.
floor. We've been there for about 6 years.
Yep, and it's where the magic happens.
It's hard to take photos of a big room, so you're all welcome to come check it out.
Yeah. So what is it that we actually do in this space?
Right.
What do we actually do? So we made this handy pie chart to...
Every presentation, I feel like, just needs some kind of pie chart.
Yeah, needs some sort of infographic. So we are a retail business and a wholesale business that sells prints, mostly. Prints and products, but mostly prints. We also do some design work for really cool clients. We collaborate with awesome companies to do fun projects. We also do in-person events. We go to hipster craft shows all around the country. We've done
bunch of big city trade shows.
Random
pop-ups.
Retail stores all over the place. And so
you gotta have an other slice also.
Other. So other is generally every creative company needs an other category because you never know what's going to happen. Today fits in the other category.
Yeah, totally. We do not have a speaking slice on here, so we'll just kind of put it in there.
So speaking gig is in the other category. So let's describe wholesale and retail. So like I said, the bulk of our business is making and selling prints and products. You can find them on our website, wearebrainstorm.com. You can find them in a ton of retail stores all around the country, all around the world. Gus & Ruby, Taylor Mac, like we mentioned. Our work is inspired by science, nature, and the outdoors. So we work in tons of colors. We love making maps, lots of different kinds of work, mostly prints, like we said. But we also sell a puzzle because we can.
We have a National Parks puzzle. We've had it for about a year because everyone needs a well-designed puzzle in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a creative challenge, and we decided to make it. And we occasionally try to make random products that just strike our fancy. And so these are some of the things that we've made over the years. Because we had the capability to screen print in our studio, we were able to make really big gift wrap one year. We screen printed on fabric and had my parents sew us up tote bags to sell, which was not a very good.
The margins are terrible.
The margins were terrible.
Yeah. We're out.
And
out on that.
yeah, parents weren't happy in the end, so they stormed out. But we also sold these glass cups for a little while because we gave them away as favors at our wedding, and people loved them so much. We were like, maybe we should start selling them. Maybe that's like something that we can put in our shop. So we did. And that's the thing. We just like to try random things all the time. So the other part of our business is design work. So we collaborate with lots of people, do design work all around. Because of the large body of work that we created on the personal side, clients
are now finding us.
Have found us.
Right.
So we've done maps, we've worked on merchandise. These are some of the maps that we've made for, that actually became a puzzle. This is for a retailer.
San Francisco wanted a local map.
We've done some can label design for Garrison City Beer Works in Dover, which you should go to. We've done some, we actually did the Best of New Hampshire cover a couple years ago.
Yeah, we've done some illustration work, some apparel work.
Some apparel, we've worked on logos occasionally.
There's a little bit of branding-ish things in there.
Yeah. Oddly enough, boot painting became a thing this year.
Yeah.
So this little company, Timberland, mom and pop shop, little shop, actually sent me to London and New York City to hand paint on boots in the stores.
Live in person, in the window.
So didn't
That's
see
in the
that
other
coming.
category.
It's kind of in the other category. But that was really fun. We've also done
put a marker on a food truck.
A food truck, and we're starting to get more into murals.
Now.
We did this one in Boston a couple months ago. This was a fun project. We just finished this mural in Burlington
this weekend.
6 days ago.
Yeah, wrapped it up on Monday morning.
Burlington, Vermont last weekend. This mural we did last year, actually.
It's almost the 1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary of this mural we did in Garrison City. It's one of our largest and most fun projects we've done to date. And people are always asking us, how do you guys work together?
I know, is one of this you and is one of this you? And so we actually have a trailer of this for 1 minute to show you how it is we actually work together. I hear this song in my dreams now. As we're working on this presentation.
Thank you. We assumed that people would clap. We were hoping people would clap. So I put that in there. Jay's like, why do you have that slide in there? I knew it was going to happen. All right.
Classic examples when Brandon's right. That's fine.
Yeah. So the next slice of the pie is our in-person events. Since the beginning, we've been taking our work to the streets. There's something really special about getting your work out there and meeting people and getting immediate feedback. It's something that you can't really get through the internet.
With an Instagram emoji. As much as I love getting thank yous with exclamation points on them, there's something about like locking eyes with somebody and they're like, I like what you've done. It just feels fantastic.
It's great.
So motivating.
Right.
Yeah.
Motivating to keep going. So we've been doing this since 2007. We've traveled all over the place to really great cities to sell our work, to eat the food and drink the drinks and
curse at each other in a new location.
Yeah. Exactly, which happens a lot. But we've done shows in 10-foot spaces, 6-foot spaces. We've done shows in rain, in wind, in staggering heat.
Yeah, in the mud after the rain.
Yeah, we've had muddy shows that we've done.
It's that carny life that you just kind of have to get used to. It's what it is. It's taking the show on the road.
Taking the show on the road. So it's really totally exhausting. It's a complete hustle, but it's absolutely worth it because when people come up to you at these shows and they show you how our work, they show us how our work actually impacts them in their life, and they show us pictures of the things that they have hanging on their wall, and they say that they're going to buy gifts for their friends, or it's a housewarming, or it's like the first thing that they're going to hang on their wall. It's just awesome, and we love it, and you can't replace that feeling, and so that's why we've continued to do it all these years, even though it's completely exhausting. And even the little kids that come into our booth, because of like the sciencey, nerdy stuff that we have, we know that like that little kid's going to grow up and like know some stuff. Yeah. So craft shows eventually turned into trade shows, and it's a lot less wind, but it's way more money. Yeah. So we committed.
A trade-off.
It's a little bit of a trade-off. So we committed to going to these trade shows to expand our wholesale business and get into more stores. And that's been really fun for us. So the other category, which again is the random piece that every creative company needs to have, we need to be ready for anything. So something like set decoration. We've had our prints on TV shows and movies, and a Google commercial randomly. Super cool emails that come through, and they're like,
yourself in the background of things.
Yeah.
All the time.
And also licensing. This is something that when
a company has a thing and they want to put our thing on their thing, and our things are touching. Feels great. We're talking about art, Monty, chill.
Yeah.
Things are touching. Feels great.
Right.
A company would make a tote bag and they want to put the little yoga people on it, and a tempered glass cutting board, or iPhone cases, even though we're Android people. I didn't really. It's okay, you can do it. It's fine.
So following the energy. What
this is it.
This is the part where we talk about
our non-existent business plan.
Our business plan.
And how we've made it 11 years thus far.
Right. So we've never had a business plan. We operate with very short-term goals. Very short-term goals.
Just trying to get through maybe the month. That could be a little bit long. Maybe like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out.
Yeah. So what the fuck does it mean to follow the energy?
Yeah. How could you possibly do this?
How could you do this? How can we actually operate an entire business doing this? Some people call it synchronicity. Some people call it the law of attraction. Other people call it, just when things just line up.
For you guys.
But for the sake of this talk, because of this month's theme, we're going to call it symmetry. So we decide together what feels right and what feels good when we're making decisions about following opportunities. Yep. We both have to agree in order for things to move forward. That's actually something that's a really important part of our creative process.
And we've tried to move forward on things that we don't agree with, and it's just an epic fail.
Yeah, it usually blows up in our face, and it's a lot of fighting, and it's a lot of angry discussions. But when things line up, it's actually really great. So we're going to tell you 3 stories about how we have agreed on things and how we've moved forward and how things just seem to have lined up because we agreed and commit to going forward. So follow the energy. So this is how doing a craft show in Philadelphia actually opened up a partnership with Urban Outfitters and our entire wholesale business. So it sparked our entire wholesale business because Urban...
Doing shows is what we had always done
Yeah.
since the very beginning for years. And when we were at this particular show in Philadelphia, apparently an Urban Outfitters buyer came by the booth and bought some stuff and left. We didn't know this at the time, but Urban's headquarters is in Philadelphia. So these people are just like out in the city doing things. Months later, we get this email that's like, hey, we were at your booth at that show, and we're actually redoing our whole like home goods, home decor situation. Would you guys like to partner up and join a bunch of other really talented people? And can you make thousands of prints for all of our urban locations? And
we said yes.
yeah.
Even though we had no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
And we were...
I was like, this is a thing?
This is a thing.
I guess so. Let's try to figure this out.
Yeah. So it became a thing, and it actually sparked the whole business, the side of wholesale that just opened up so many more opportunities for us. So in addition to, doing all of these little things that create energy, we sign and stamp every print that leaves our studio. It's a really important thing for us. We feel like every print has to pass through our hands. If we didn't print it, or if we printed it, it still has to have our stamp and our signature on it because it's special. It just feels more special.
Yeah.
But something like this actually ended up leading to designing work for Lollapalooza's 25th anniversary. It was 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
So it actually, to go back to the first story, one of the people who worked for the production company that puts this show on
In Austin, Texas.
had one of our prints in their office.
Yeah, in like the
hanging
communal
up.
area of their office.
And they flipped it over and saw our name and our stamp on the back of it and looked up our company and emailed us and said, hey, would you guys be interested
do a
in
thing.
designing some work for us? And we
Yeah.
said, absolutely. Let's make that happen.
Yeah.
And it turns out, I think the woman who had the print bought it at Urban Outfitters. So
I believe so.
to link it back to that first story. So yeah, that was a really fun energy story. Also, hosting print workshops has actually led to some really cool things. A woman who came to one of our workshops actually worked for LL Bean and passed our name up the chain and said she loved our work so much, and she was like, this would be great in LL Bean. And we were like, okay. And it turned out that she was right, and she passed our name to some high up people, and now we're in all the LL Bean stores all over, and we're actually going to be in the catalog and online with our puzzle in the next year. So
Completely crazy.
Really crazy
Never
stuff.
pitched LLB, never would have expected a partnership like that, but it came out
Right.
of doing a workshop and just having interaction with people.
Which is something that we just knew how to do. We know how to print, and just kind of doing the things that you're good at can lead to really awesome opportunities if you follow through, saying yes to things. So one of the craziest stories that we have, I think it's the most interesting. That's why we chose it.
It's got a lot of follow the energy steps. There's a lot of opportunities where we could have said no, a lot of chances to turn away and not understand how one could lead to the other so far down the line.
Right. So this is the story about how outsourcing some printing, because we were starting to get overwhelmed with keeping up with our inventory, it actually led to driving across America with an Airstream trailer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So super weird, totally disconnected, but we're going to tell you the story about how it actually came to be.
We'll rip through it.
So we met this guy, Nick, who works for Mama Sauce. Mama Sauce is a screen printing company. They do letterpress printing. They're based in Florida.
Artist for artist print shop in Florida.
And like I said, we were starting to get overwhelmed with keeping up with our own inventory and keeping things stocked. So we were toiling over this idea that we should outsource our printing. It was really scary because it was something that we had
done forever.
Really, really close, and it was kind of precious. We were looking at it as something that was really important for us to keep. But it was overwhelming, so a couple years later after meeting him, we decided to go for it.
Yeah. This was a huge
decision for us.
To let go of this and trust someone else.
Right. So we sent them some money, we sent them the designs, and they printed our first print. And the first order came back, and it was not good. It was unfortunately really messed up, and we're really picky because we're printers too. And it turned out that the order was
we've made a terrible mistake.
We've made a terrible mistake.
We should be doing this ourselves. What were we thinking?
What were we thinking? Yeah, but the company made good on their promise to help us, and we continued the partnership, and it's been great ever since. We've given them tons of prints, and they're great. So we continued the partnership, and it's been a couple years. And since then, they have worked with this company, Adobe. I don't know if you've heard of it. No, that's actually a really good plug. So Adobe puts on this conference every year, Adobe Max. If you haven't heard of it, I suggest you look it up.
We didn't at the time.
We didn't know what it was at the time, but it's a really amazing creative conference.
You should get your company to send you.
Yes, you should definitely try to go. So this particular year, they were hosting this marketplace where vendors would come and sell things during this conference. So because we knew Nick and because we had been working with them for so long, Nick recommended us for this marketplace. Right. Which was insane. And so we had to decide whether or not this was a good move for us. Should we go out to San Diego because it was on the West Coast?
San Diego. It's in November, which is during our busiest time selling retail wholesale. The space to set up was again small.
Just like a table.
Yeah, just like one little table. And now we're going to be next to what I would consider some of the celebs in the design world. Like, who the fuck are we to stand next to Aaron Draplin, Ted Carpenter, Victoria, all these like real people who are like people we look up to. Yeah. Let alone I shouldn't be standing right next to you.
Right. But we went.
All right, let's give it a shot.
We did it. We went for it. And so at this conference, there are these big sponsors there, and Airstream was there, and they had a big booth. And so we went to visit the booth, and we were like obviously enamored with Airstream.
Yeah,
they're super
in
cool.
The convention center. These things are beautiful. They're handmade.
Yeah, and it turns out they were running this not so flashy contest. And as designers, I know this is at a design conference.
That they put up. It's like, I swear, it's a real picture.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know.
That's the advertisement.
For the contest. Yeah. And somehow this caught our eye. I don't know how.
We're like, is this a real thing?
Is this a real thing? And it turns out it was. So we looked it up, and it was only open to the people at the conference, and it was, kind of like a small little contest they were running, but the winner would win a base camp, their small trailer, for a month, and you could take it anywhere you wanted to go. So we read the terms and conditions,
which nobody reads terms and conditions. It was like 6 pages long on the phone, reading through these things to see is this worth it?
Yeah, and so we sat there at the conference and we were like, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think we could totally do it. It's only open to people at the show. We, have this backlog of really cool work. We don't have to make new stuff. We'll just use old work and we'll submit stuff. And it was unlimited submissions through Instagram and Twitter and all of that. So okay. So it turned out we won. So we got to take the trailer. So we won, and they put our winning design on the trailer. And it was a ton of work to plan this. And we actually realized that how the hell are we going to take 4 weeks off of work? We totally can't do that.
They give you this trailer and this truck for 4 weeks in July and say you can go do whatever you want.
Right.
There's no strings attached. Have a blast. If you want to go park it in the whites, go for it. But we
were like, I think this is a bigger opportunity than just going to park it in the middle of nowhere. So we convinced Airstream and submit massive proposals to let us drive the trailer to the West Coast, and in exchange for us taking the trailer into some craft shows that we were going to go to, they would pay for the whole thing. And it worked. And it actually worked. So we convinced them to do that. And so we took the trailer all the way to the West Coast.
It just so happened in July that there was a show every weekend up the West Coast, LA, San Fran, Portland, and Seattle.
Yeah.
So we were like, this is kind of a great coincidence. I wonder if they'd pay for us to do this.
Yeah. And it worked.
And it did.
So we hit the road, and we gave away prints along the way, and we had our dog with us, which was really, really stressful, but really amazing.
The trailer's really small.
The trailer is really small, but it was amazing. It was a total crazy experience. We got to take it into the shows, and We had the door open in the trailer and like a million
Yeah, we
people
had this
coming and
little-
going.
this little stand set up where like people can come in and see it, which after like 3 seconds we're like, this is a terrible idea because we are living in here.
Yeah, we
I
had
got,
to like tuck
all
the
my
underwear.
laundry tucked up, and like the people are taking a tour, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of sleeping in here. Can you not, not touch anything?
Yeah, so it was exhausting and it was amazing, but we got to meet so many people and we got to see our West Coast retailers. We did a couple pop-ups along the way at some of our stores out there. We got to meet just awesome people, and it was a great experience.
It's
it was
also super
also
exhausting.
really exhausting, and I probably wouldn't do it the same way again. But overall, it was a really great trip, and we followed a lot of energy. And
There were a lot of decisions and points where we could have turned around and not ended up here years later. So if I had any advice to give any of you, I would say you don't know what opportunities are coming, and just follow through on things you feel good about.
yeah. So the whole point of telling you all of this, and despite this really awesome highlight reel that we've shown you today, we've had some.
Not all highlights.
It's not all highlights. We've had some very real failures, and we never really knew where we were going or who we were trying to be. We just knew that we wanted to collaborate. We had this desire to collaborate in this life on this work, and whatever form that takes. As you can see, it's very random. So when we put our heads together and decided to go for something wholeheartedly, things have lined up in really harmonious ways. Symmetry.
That's our symmetry story.
And we were excited.